I'm really nervous. It's hard to be first, you know?
Woo!
Yeah. Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Tell them more about Thrive.
So I'm Sherri, and I'm a painter. I work out of William Clark's studio. It's part of the Eastside Culture Crawl. And yeah, I've been doing paintings about bicycles and street art for about 2 years. This isn't my bike, but I ended a relationship and got a new bike. And that bike became like my new best friend. And I just was overwhelmed with this sense of freedom, and the landscape of my life just totally changed. And I also learned how to ride it through the city, which was like a revelation. The whole city just opened up for me. And I really felt like I was pushing the boundaries of like where I could go and where I wasn't allowed to go. And I started painting the things that I saw in those places. Yeah. So I think that this city has a contentious relationship both with color and with bicycles, to say the least. It's kind of love-hate. And the city really likes to control, you know, how everything looks, and we seem to have, we like color and we have a lot of artists in this city, but there's always somebody watching over, making sure that we're having fun just in the designated areas. So it was really interesting to be able to go down these back alleys and do a lot of research about who these artists were that had also been there and what their stories were. And these paintings started out as a single submission to a show that was on the theme of movement. And then, yeah, they just kind of took off from there. 2 years later, and I'm still painting them. So my bicycle became kind of a stand-in for myself in these portraits. I called them my bicycle portraits. And riding my bike off-grid, you know, it helped me to discover all these other artists that had traveled this path. They were making these dark places beautiful and adding color and bringing them to life in a way that invited people to enter those spaces. So I thought that was really interesting, and to be able to put my bike in there as a stand-in for me kind of changed the context of what the scenes were like and where I fit into those places as an artist as well. Oh yeah, and this is my bike. She's just so great. So this is a mural that's down on Hastings and Strathcona, and yeah, I don't know, they're all just so great. I just wanted to be a part of the beauty that was in those neighborhoods and show what I was seeing as I traveled around. I began to think a lot about where the landscape artists had to go in order to see these particular scenes. Like this one, you know, me as an artist, I was alone on a street out after dark, and I was a little scared, but like I do have the right to be outside after the sun goes down. And the same way that these artists claim part of the public space, my being there and my seeing these scenes claims my part of that public space as well. Street art encourages people to interact with their environment in intentional ways. Like, what are the geographies of the everyday? Who made this and who's it for? By posing a bicycle in front of it and painting it, it composes a new image of the work and gives it a new context, and it encourages a visual research project. I paint this, or I post this, and other people write about it or comment on it, and it brings it out into the world for other people to see and develops kind of a literary language around it as well. And it encourages the viewer to investigate where these landscapes are and who they came from, and it turns us all into readers of the street. And then after this series started to take shape, I realized that the paintings were not only about street art. The bicycle was also a main theme. It's an everyday object, but it's symbolic of a green lifestyle, and it's a practical object for travel and for negotiating the urban environment without leading to its degradation or expansion. And bicycles are the route to an ecological, saner society. And yeah, it just stood in for a symbol of a lot of the things that we have activism for in issues of the environment. And these murals are also down in Strathcona. This one is on Hawks and Powell on the side of Sunrise Foods. Oh, and this one is in the Strathcona BIA. And yeah, they both just incorporate our oceanside living and our bikes on the streets. Sort of like my own discovery of life on a bicycle, the bicycle is a symbol for the new woman and a push for greater freedom. And all of you that chose to wear pants tonight have a bicycle to thank for that. As Susan B. Anthony said, the bicycle did more to emancipate women than anything else in the world. It changed our clothing. Doctors warned women that they were going to get a serious case of bicycle face. If they rode bikes too much, your eyes will bulge because of all the world that you're going to see. Your chins will stick out in a very unbecoming, determined way. And bicycles also encouraged masturbation, which is terrible, terrible. So my freedom is, or my sense of freedom is a common feeling that women for 100 years have experienced. It's also a symbol for anarchy, and life on a bicycle is a way to promote a more anarchist society. Traveling off-grid, rejecting the world of the vehicle of ever faster pace, and moving through the world at the speed of your own body is a very DIY punk way to live. And then this one, I finished painting this, and then the next morning I woke up to hear the news that Rob Ford had passed away. And that was 2 years ago, I think tomorrow or today. Rob Ford was known as the anti-graffiti mayor, and he swore to clean all the streets of Toronto of all their color and all their artistry. City streets are where cars, bicycles, people, and pavement physically intersect and are made meaningful. They communicate narratives about politics and culture. These scenes are very temporary, but they capture a moment in time. It communicates what we as artists are thinking about right now. Street art is always changing, and maybe these murals are gone right now. But this painting is a time capsule, and it captures cultural epiphanies such as I Believe You and Me Too. This one appeared in Chinatown the day after the Jian Ghomeshi verdict. And it was gone by the next day. Like, I just happened to walk by at that moment, and it was hand-lettered by Love Letters for Everyone. And it just kind of captured that spirit that everybody had that day. And then with this one, people are always asking me if these are real places. They want to know where they are and if they're real street art. And the Me Too movement had just broken as I was painting this one, so that actually wasn't in the graffiti that when I found this neighborhood, but it was in the air while I was painting, so I did my own street art on this one. The bicycle is also a tool for pushing us towards a more socialist society. It liberates working class and pushes us toward expanding real and imaginary horizons. It's a vehicle that's genderless, and it's open to all, and it invites us to explore the power of our bodies. Cycling re-peoples a city. And Frances Willard, she equated the bicycle with moral refinements in 1891, and I'm just going to read a quote by her. That which made me succeed with the bicycle was precisely what had gained me a measure of success in life. It was the hardihood of spirit that led me to begin, the persistence of will that held me to my task, and the patience that was willing to begin again when the last stroke had failed. And I thought that was a good metaphor for painting as well. And this is my final slide. This is the series that I'm working on now, kind of expanding the idea of an artist out in the world after dark, and kind of the masculine and feminine sides of the night. That's all.